Hi, my name is Ariana Thomas, and this is my CS 2316 final project called What the World Emits and the Factors That Contribute. Besides, there is no planet B. Hopefully that also was shown the right way, because if not, then that would look weird. But we'll see. Reasons and topics. I love nature. Even got this little globe to show for it. Um, yeah, so initially when I was searching for just data sets in general, I really found some on peatlands, which if you don't know what peatlands are land that are pretty much submerged in water, but not like deep, like, lakes or oceans. So more like, you could, I mean, if it's too deep, you could not walk in it, but eventually, it's like it can be from some sort of water to a little bit. But I was very interested in peatlands because I was just looking stuff up about them and how apparently they can be a big contributor to carbon emissions. And I thought that was very interesting. And since I found one data set, I was like, oh, let me find more on that. And so I did find some, and they were specific to Indonesia and Malaysia. And so I thought that would be great. However, I was not able to find when I started to do all of my cleaning, and I actually had to use like beautiful soup for one of them. That was a big reason. Um, now the website I was using, I actually had two backup websites, and both of them were not able to be parsed through beautiful soup. And so for that reason, I changed. But I did find in general carbon emission data sets and some that were specific on lands, which I really wanted since this obviously does a lot with land. And so my main reason or my main goal, sorry, is that I wanted to, of course, like I said, for the main part, I wanted to do peatland, so see the effects that it had on carbon, because I wanted to see how true is that and to what scale. And then I also wanted to see overall just like different types of uh, carbon emission amounts that the countries have, and which have the highest, which have the lowest, things like that. Okay, for my data collection. So dataset one was my CSV file, and this one was from sorry, ourworldinData.org. And this website has so many graphs, and it led to another website, but I think they're like connected. And I was able to get all the data from there through a CSV file, and it had um, many rows for basically all uh, possible places in the world and years even that starting back in the 1800s. So it was a very big data set. And then for my second, I had a JSON file, which I found through globalforestwatch.org. And that was also really cool. It also had maps of everything figured out on there, but they had this great table that I could use and could download as a JSON file. And so that's what I used. And then lastly, I had the web scraping, and I didn't want to. I mean, I could have included the photo, but it was a Wikipedia page. So, we've all seen Wikipedia. And that was the amount of land in countries, the amount of water in countries, and then the percentage of water to land. Okay, the cleaning process. The web file definitely had its inconsistencies. Two rows when I was trying to make it into a final data set, because the way I was making my for data frames, the way I was doing is I was when I downloaded it, I would make it into a list, and then through the list, I would make individual tiny data frames, and then I would make them all into one big one. But that didn't work because not all the rows were the same length. To find out that there was a cell missing at the beginning of one of the rows and one missing at the end. So for the one missing at the end, I was just able to easily append it. And then for the one at the beginning, because that's where it was missing and it wouldn't have worked to append it at the end, I decided to use the insert method for that. And then I also, one of the row that was supposed to say China, which said China in the website, it got switched to a bracket of E. And that was because to the left they had another just kind of random um, column and it had the E next to it. And so it replaced it when I downloaded the data. And then for cleaning, I used regex because for the land, total area of land, water, they did it in kilometers squared. And then they also did it, I don't remember, but another measurement, I didn't keep that one. That's why I don't remember that one is exactly. But they had it into, like, they had the regular one and they had parentheses, uh, the other measurement. And so obviously that was a problem. You can only use one measurement. And so I decided to use regex for this. And it's honestly been a long time since I've used it, but I'm glad that I was able to remember how to. And so I just found what maps that and then, you know, index the string to make sure it had just that part of it. And yeah, there's like more of the cleaning, just unnecessary columns, just got rid of them. Next was my JSON. It was so easy, very easy. And I didn't have to deal with much. And just for cleaning, I basically just index all the way up because I think it was like getting maybe all of the land in Indonesia and Malaysia, but not the ones that like had data for because it would have like the land measurements, but it wouldn't have actual like emissions and all that other type of data. So for that reason, I just cleaned that out, and that one was pretty easy. And then last was the CSV. This one, like I said, I think before had a lot of rows, and when I was looking through them, some had continents, like that had Africa. That was the biggest one that stood out, and I was just like, whoa. And I was looking at other ones, and some would like divide certain set of countries into be like, oh, these are countries that are like this, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's obviously not what I want either. So I actually went and found a website from Britannica. I think that's how you say it. I might be saying it wrong, but I saw that there it said like a list of countries and territories, and so I beautiful soup that in, and I made sure to uh, give. I'm sorry, I'm fumbling my words, but I basically just got a list of the countries and territories in the web file, and I indexed that to what I had in the CSV to make sure it only got actual countries and territories. However, some of the territories didn't have a lot of data in them, so then I did have to for loop them out. And then, like I said, a lot of the years, so for cleaning, I just made it 1990, 1921. That's honestly where most of the data was too. Of course, they didn't have too much data really back then to collect, so honestly, most of it was empty anyway. And then I made sure the columns were floats. It was just an issue one time when I was coding, and so I just made sure to get rid of that and just to be for extra safe measures if I had to deal with that with any more columns along the way. For my insights, so for one of the big ones was Insight 1, the total growth rate of carbon dioxide emissions through the years 1990 to 2021 for every country. And I did the rate because obviously just showing the amount, that's not going to get, it's just showing an amount, and I want to see like how they actually progress and try to do better. So did they increase it or did they decrease it? And then, of course, I wanted to see the percentage of carbon emissions to peatlands, of peatlands to the overall, sorry again, carbon dioxide. And so that was my other big one. And then for my visuals, I had, of course, they also had like in my JSON file, they had the species, and when I say species, I mean crops and other products. And so I was finding the product that had the highest emission to land ratio, and that would be the wood fiber / timber mix. And then I also found visuals for Inside 5 that was just showing the very interestingly the amount of emissions, even though because some were high in just carbon, but I want to see were they also very high, or how they compared to other countries being high in methane and I wish I could see the other one. Okay, nitrous oxide. I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. And then finally, I was pretty shocked about how Africa was both in the highest and lowest percentage of growth. I thought it would be more spread out of the highest would be in one continent, the other would be in the lowest. And then I was also very surprised by the The amount, 75% was what I came up with for the percentage of drained peatlands to overall carbon emission, which seemed very high in Malaysia and Indonesia for 2014. And that is it. Hopefully this is not over 10 minutes. I tried to time this very well, and I realized it is really hard because I did do so much for this, and it was honestly a very cool project. And there was too much to put in. And of course, I'm fumbling my words right now, so that obviously isn't helping as well. Um, but I am very happy to have done this project, and I thought it was really good for helping me with my skills, and it was with the topic that I'm interested in nature, but also newly interested in because now I got to learn more about peatlands, which I'd never learned before. So thank you for watching this video.